Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm Tom from Dragonmount, and we're going to jump right into these 5 hot takes for episode 7 of Amazon Prime Video's Wheel of Time TV show, which is titled The Dark Along the Ways. So right off the bat, the blood snow scene in the beginning, which is what that battle was called, was fantastic. It was amazing. The blood snow, of course, was the name of the battle that took place with the Aiel and the combined forces of the Westlands, I believe they're calling them, or Randland, as we affectionately called it throughout the fandom. This entire scene with Tigraine was forking amazing. Like, it was awesome. Like, it was from top to bottom. It was well choreographed. The cinematography was great. The scene, the set was awesome. It looked beautiful, absolutely beautiful. She kills like 6 people on screen, and that's just on screen because her spears are bloody as she's running onto the screen. So she's already seen some fighting. While pregnant, she killed all these people, like moments before going into labor, and then she kills these 6 people while in labor, seconds before actually giving birth. Insanity, just absolute insanity. She is just like S tier, like crazy. So now that we've seen this entire episode, we know that Tigraine is actually Rand's mom, because Rand is the baby who's born here. So that was pretty fantastic. The costuming looks great. The Aiel garb, the alien army, the 9 Bs, they looked awesome. Tam Thor being there was just great. Like, the way they fit that in was really good. I'm glad that they finally tied in the fever dreams in. Like, you know, Rand has known this entire time, and he hasn't said anything, kind of, or maybe he's been in denial about it. There's a lot going on in Rand's head there, and I really like that they're starting to show that he's got some, demons in there. Like, he kept this from everybody, including Matt and Moiraine, Egwene, Nynaeve, everyone. So that's very interesting. It also explains why he might have been interested in that book that he picked up in the Tar Valon library, the Cartharian Cycle, or the Prophecies of the Dragon. All in all, the scene was great. My only gripe with it is that Tigraine doesn't pull her veil back up when she goes and kills all those people like the Aiel are supposed to. Now, given, technically, Tigraine isn't an Aiel, and she was in the middle of labor, so it's forgivable. But that's my only little gripe about it. Okay, my next hot take is that the Ways were a bit of a letdown. They were. Sorry, in my opinion, they were. They were a bit of a letdown for me. The entirety of the Ways just looked like a set. I wasn't a fan of this narrow, winding path that they were following. And the fact that there was like weather events going on in the Ways where you could see lightning and stuff like that, just, for me, it took away from the feelings of the Ways from the books. Like, the Ways inspired fear because of, like, not only because of the darkness and like what is explained that's lurking there, but the oppressive silence that was there. And the fact that the characters who knew about the Ways, like, really drilled into you leading up to going in there, that if you hear any sound in the Ways, especially like a wind blowing, it's probably too late. You're probably already dead. So I feel like that feeling was lost in this depiction. The way they depicted Ma Ching-Shin was okay. I liked it. It was not as I imagined it, but, whatever. That's neither here nor there. Just because it's not the way I imagined it doesn't mean it wasn't good. It just maybe isn't my cup of tea the way they did it, but I did like it. I just would have liked it better if it was a little bit more book-related here, only because I feel like what was in the book was better than the way they depicted it here. They weren't in the Ways very long at all, and I think they could have did a better job with showing the passage of time in there. Maybe making them sleep and wake up multiple days, or just say, like, oh, we've been in here for 2 days, or something like that. It really felt like they were only in the Ways for like 10 minutes. They walk in, within the first minutes, find the first guiding stone, and then like almost immediately from that guiding stone are like, the way gate's close, and then they're out of the Ways. Like, it was, I feel like with, clever cinematography and some dialogue, they could have made that entire scene feel like it was longer. Last little bit about the Ways also has to do with Pat and Fane. How the heck did he get in there? Like, what we've seen so far is you need to channel to enter the ways. I mean, given that might not be the entirety of the case, the ways were created a very long time ago, so maybe Paddon Fane has knowledge on how to open a waygate without needing to channel. Okay, my next one is kind of short. Lan is Batman. No, I'm joking. I love the expansion of Lan's character in this episode. That's this hot take. His little, I say he's Batman because that little scene where Nynaeve is spying on him and then all of a sudden he's behind her, like my friends and I used to use a term called Batmaning when someone was super sneaky. So even my wife says that from time to time. So like she was like, Lan is Batman when he did that. It was funny. Sorry, I digress. I like this expansion of his character though. It makes him feel more believable, more real, and I really like they kept in one of the armsmen still being alive, very old, obviously. So you could see, like, here's the last bit of Malkir in this room, probably. Now, you know, we do find out later there are a few more, but not many. So this is just really an interesting little bit for him. It adds some feeling to his character for the viewer, for Nynaeve. It was interesting. I liked it. My next hot take is about Min. I really like the way they're doing her viewings. I was a little afraid that the way they were going to do her viewings might feel cheesy. I was afraid, honestly, that it would look like a Snapchat filter. You know, you just have these weird images floating around someone's face, like, or their head or something. Like, I was a little worried that it would look weird. But I think they did well. I think this looks interesting, while at the same time still feeling true to the books. While I mention Min's viewings, I want to point out the one that she had about Maureen when she was there. So she said, the Amyrlin is in her full regalia, and she is going to be your downfall. She says, the Amyrlin. Now, that could mean that she knows who the Amyrlin is, and she sees Sophie Turner or Swan Sanchi. But I don't think so. I think they chose saying the Amyrlin is that Min can see that the person is the Amyrlin seat, but not who the person is necessarily. So the Amyrlin probably going to be either Elida or Landrin. I still am not entirely convinced they've conflated those two, but one or the other, if they make Landrin seeking it or Elida seeking it. I think it's just going to be an Amyrlin who is her downfall. And last is that I think that this episode is the weakest out of all of them so far. But I'm willing to look completely past that because I understand why. I think, at least, I understand why. This and episode 8, the final 2 episodes, were filmed after the long, COVID shutdown that they had to go through mid-filming this season. So that's a big deal, to have to pack everything up, come back, take sets down, put them back up. There's a lot that goes into that. There's probably a lot that was lost because of it. And I get that feeling watching this episode. Also, they had to rewrite and reshoot and re-edit probably large chunks of this episode due to Barney Harris leaving. And the actor who was playing Ingtar also left the show. It was one of the people in the hallway when Lan and the group first meet up with the Shinarans. That scene feels very cut, and it was probably because one of them introduces themselves as Ingtar. Now, they just didn't introduce Ingtar yet in this first episode. Well, that's all I have for you guys now. Thank you very much for joining me. Make sure to check out the podcast that is going to be coming out this weekend, as well as join me for our live Saturday at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks. Good night. Be safe. Vaccinate if you can, and mask up.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for sticking around to the end. As always, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button or leave a comment. We like comments, especially positive ones. If you have a friend who enjoys the Wheel of Time, tell them about Dragonmount.com and our show. Special thanks to our show sponsor, Tor Books, as well as to our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how our show is made and get additional insights into the Wheel of Time, you can become a Patreon supporter. We have a lot of big plans for the show, and your contribution will go a long way to making them a reality. Be sure to follow Dragonmount on social media, and see you next time.